Hi people, it's Philipp Druzhinin straight out of Moscow. It's 8th of May 2017. So hello everybody. Uh, let's try to check if we had got the sound. Yes, okay, we have it. So today's broadcast is encouraged by video by New Earth channel. It's Fortress of Foot Giants in Syria, the Nimrod Fortress with polygonal stonework. It got 56,000 views for almost 2 weeks, and it's made in April 2017. So I'll leave you a link under this description of this video, so you can check it by yourself, of course. Let's see if we have the screen share. Yes, we have it. So this video is made by Sylvia Ivanova, also known as New Earth channel, and she's showing us some fortress with different type of stonework technology. As she says, she calls this small bricks or small masonry technology as not advanced, and she's calling those huge blocks megaliths, and even see some polygonal masonry there. Okay, what is one of my explanations to such kind of buildings, such kind of stonework? I was showing different videos about megaliths of Russia, and I've shown a bunch of examples of many sites. We saw this mountain Shorias, and which is one of the biggest sites that we have. Probably we have more, but most of them are undercover. And it's not only Russia. Just imagine, Russia is just the most unrevealed place, maybe hidden place, has the most of them. But also South America has a bunch of them, and a bunch of them are in Afghanistan, China, what else? Syria, of course, Syria, because Syria is one of the key places. Iran is also a huge artifact place. Also Europe, because Europe is pretty large part of this world, and it has more cultural significant artifacts than probably anyone, because it's very dense there. Also, we have North American sites, and today we're gonna talk about one of them. Maybe you've heard about it, but well, what my thing and my thinking about this places is that they're all made by miners. Miners collaborating with masonry people who are engineers and stuff like that. So the byproduct of mining is so-called pasta. Pasta is made by leaching metals, and we also see dehydration mining, which is probably the same pasta technology which is produced in many parts of the world. And this is only one reason we can explain how could all those mining sites be transformed into hills, and on those hills we can often see some fortresses in the middle of nowhere made of stonework and stuff like that. But it's not really a stonework, it's a concrete. Sometimes it's complex, maybe it has nice outside layers which are polished by those workers who were actually doing that. Sometimes it's just huge concrete blocks. Sometimes it's like looks like it's a wall or maybe a mattress type of mountains like this. But also we see really cool places which are shown by Sylvia Ivanova, and we see some fortresses which actually were made on those sites just because it was easy to produce such blocks because material was everywhere, and it was collected and gathered and pumped up those hills to fill the forms. Sometimes it was forms made of bags, which are like ordinary bags like this, and it's filled with concrete, and then it's dehydrates, and it has little pimples on it, so they can put in some vibrator to for concrete to be more specifically good and decent for building a such site. Sometimes we see just the ordinary concrete blocks which are not very not very polished and stuff like that. And sometimes we see just something looking like a limestone, stuff like that. But it's also some type of concrete, and even though it looks like a stone right now, it is not a stone because it's a lot easier to do something out of concrete than to do such things producing those blocks. And I'm thinking that maybe 100%, if we talk about 100% of all those buildings, maybe only 2 to 5% are really made of stones, out of rocks. So 95%, at least 95%, are made of concrete, even though they have different size of blocks, and sometimes it looks like different technology. Just because it's different layers of the same structure, and they telling us it was like rebuilt and stuff like that using those primitive bricks. No, it's not. Probably it's not rebuilt. Maybe it's repaired a little bit, but it's not rebuilt because you cannot rebuild like this. It's just integrated into some structures and into those hills and rocks which are all around those places. Ordinary. It is some technology. As Wise Up says, everywhere we see technology, and it was made for some reason, not just for people to walk around and live in here, sleep in here, gather in here. It was some technological devices which were made for some reasons, because nobody would be making this for nothing. It's not a protection site, and of course it's not a fortress in the first meaning of it. It's a huge mining place. As you can see, a bunch of hills here. So those hills were used as a and were made probably like those pasta hills that I'll be shown in my videos about ancient mining. And those castles were made of this pasta concrete method. So some energy points were conquered, and control of this area was produced, because who could you be protecting this from? This is not a protection from troops or something like that, because we don't see those fortresses destroyed by some cannons or something like that, or maybe some catapults. They're often destroyed by something which is not very clear. They destroyed by some impacts of some weaponry, and they totally trashed out. And right now they tell us this is like 2,000 years ago. Probably it was not, because we see all this technology throughout all those medievals and late medievals, as they say, as they date it, but they're everywhere. So technology didn't move a bit for 2 or 3,000 years, because we see this concrete technology, concrete masonry or polygonal masonry technology everywhere during all this period. So this is not logical. At least it's supposed to be more explainable by those scientists. They cannot do it, and they tell us all these BS versions, which produce another form of BS propaganda, like about all these alternative versions. But as you can see, is everywhere in the world. Um, this is state of Pennsylvania, which is so-called boxcar rocks. They also produced out of the concrete. As you can see, it has fractions inside little rocks, um, and all those rocks are connected with this concrete mixture. As they say to us, this is so-called, let me translate it really fast. This is so-called pebble or pebble stone. But pebble stone can be pulled up so high only with the water or some type of flooding and stuff like that, or maybe even sea flood and stuff like that. So also it can be brought up. It could be brought up out of this underground mining facilities, which ancient had everywhere. And so that's how they do it. That's how they use the byproducts, used them to build those walls and whatever you call it, masonry. So those are just the huge concrete blocks made of those pebbles and concrete out of this pasta mining leaching methods. And in fact, this video is called "Hiking the Abandoned Summit Siding Railroad Raj Gap to Gold Mine." So this is probably one other examples of miners doing masonry, simple masonry, as a way of some device building, or maybe some technological objects. So whatever the mining was proceeding, the miners did, or the people who were working with the miners did some objects, made some objects for some technological reasons we don't know. but obviously it could be anything. Just we have to ask miners why do they need those objects, and they can explain. So everything is really for some reason. So the volume of mining in Syria is very huge. You can watch the Syrian map. You can look at it in Google Maps, and you can see a bunch of these mining uh, traces and evidence everywhere. So no wonder we have such places like this fortress or whatever you call it, Nimrod fortresses on tops of those mining stripped hills. It's just a huge quarries around those places. Little lakes often uh, can be created on the bottoms of those quarries because the water is definitely rushing up after a mine gets abandoned. All those little springs come up on the surface. So let's see if we have any questions. I don't see many people today because it's too early. Hi everybody. So maybe today or maybe tomorrow we'll see some interesting guy. Maybe even tonight. Uh, he'll be contacting me, and we'll have a conversation about some questions that he has to my content that I produce. So it would be interesting if we answer some questions today. Let's see. I'll stop this presentation for a second. And let's see if we have some questions in this form that I have on this YouTube channel. We had some good questions lately. So one guy thinks it's a Star Water event. So I'm not sure that he understands what a star. So stars are something that we don't know actually how to prove it, but we don't know how far are they and whatever you call them. They can be any cause of anything or anything on this world or earth, whatever you call it. No mud flood can be produced by stars. And definitely stars are some universes like we have this universe, which is actually um, shining in the dark. And that's what we have while we're looking on the stars. They are all universes, the same type of universes, contained of multiple cells structures like we have here. Black hole sun could be Nibiru. That's one person says. Black hole sun is a good song. Was written by Soundgarden musical rock band or whatever you call it. So you might as well watch this video and think about it. What is black hole sun? But it's definitely not Nibiru because Nibiru is a fraud. No Nibiru is seen or actually real because we cannot see anything like they say about Nibiru right now. Although a bunch of people still believe in it, and I really respect because it's a first step to understanding of this deception that we have around us. So probably you should believe in Nibiru. It's better not to. It's better than not to know or think about something and alternative, not mainstream. Okay, someone questions some more. The Vikings originated in Asia, so I agree with that. Hence, the gods they brought to Scandinavia with them, their Aesir Asians or gods. See also Dogs by American anthropologist Robert Seffer. Well, I'm saying not only Vikings, I'm saying every person on this world who is actually local and watch my videos about locals so you can understand what I'm saying. We're all locals, so probably we are inhabitants and are originated here on Earth um, with all those giants and skeletons that we can find. They are still locals. We're all locals because no one can pass um, onto this world without being a local. You have to take the body of a local or be reborn in the body of a local to come here. There's no way you can be like something else. So you have to have um, something familiar with what we know as a human body. Hey, Purarana is still restricted area in Russia for the ordinary people. The government is trying to hide something else, but in fact, Pushkin knew about true history of Tartaria and he tried to describe something in his poems. Yes, that's what I was trying to talk about in Tartaria Lukamori Giant Tree video. Okay, here's one guy who's actually had a good comment. Hey Philip, I had just a revelation. Those lines on the earth in inhabited places that we see on Google Earth look exactly like the lines on your hand. Look at your hand. It's the same kind of patterns, straight lines and cross hatching. So it's a great version, but I don't really believe in it. We have to we have to check it out first because I see those lines and I see them straight, very straight. My hand lines are not that straight; they always curve somewhere. But that's a great analogy, anyways. But because we have something similar still, as we see those straight lines, we have those lines. But most of the people who I know think those lines are just the quarries and the giant tree roots and stuff like that. So we have to be checking those theories and versions. Although our world has, our cell has its significance, just like every people's hand has its significance, we have our significance. And of course, it can be theoretically uh, compared to each other. Okay, what else? What else? What else? Rests of ancient civilizations could be reason for creating the fake wars areas where nobody can go check the rests anymore. Definitely, they have things and knowledge to hide to keep people dumb and enslaved. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, people. That's really the reason we have those conflicts everywhere, and the reason they not showing us the real proof because they create those conflicts and you can come over there and just check it out. But still, we have many places to visit, and of course, those fake conflicts also have a reason to destroy the artifacts and create those fake history versions. Okay, what else? What else? What else? Yes, you are right. Exactly. The whole illusion is to make us think we're the advanced culture and the old people were dumb. If we knew the older people had it better than us, we wouldn't accept all this bullshit they put on us. Great comment. That's a correct interpretation of what I'm trying to say. Okay. Hi there. I am a new or recent subscriber, Philip, and have to say I enjoy your fresh, unique, informative take on our fake reality. We all know that HARP technology can instigate weather patterns and tsunamis, which of course can instigate localized mudfloods upon the affected regions. I wondered what your take is on whether chemtrailing is being used to deliberately heat up our inner atmosphere to encourage and speed up the melting of Antarctic ice wall. Well, I can't say something about that because I've never been to Antarctica myself, and of course, this is a hard question, and we have to. Some people say, if you're so sure about Antarctic ice wall, why can't you just go and collect all those money for a ticket on the ship and go there and check it out? Why not? We have those cruise lines over there. So maybe if when I'm done with all this stuff here, I can go there and check it out too. Why not? But I have some stuff here, and which is more obvious and cheaper to explore. And probably you too. You don't have many time mm, to, for such expedition. Um, I cannot remember whether it was you who touched upon it, whether it was Wise Up channels that mentioned the ancient cities built thousands of feet above sea, built to survive such natural cataclysms. Well, I think that anything that is built up on the mountain and stuff like that, built for some reason, is built for some reason. There's no other explanation. We cannot say definitely was that the mud flood reason or mud reason or whatever reason, but we have to be specific on every side to say what is the reason. And we have to talk to professionals like miners. We have to talk to professionals like engineers and uh, like I was saying about the interview that I was taking with this guy in 2011. I think we had this interview on my one of my last jobs. I was taking an interview from one person who was actually a nuclear scientist, and he was saying about all these interesting things about uranium, all those interesting things about um, ray of Bogomolov, which is Russian scientist. He had that ray that can actually, when it's directed to the nuclear warhead or nuclear plant or nuclear whatever nuclear submarine, if that ray reaches the target, it deactivates the nuclear charge or nuclear power. So it's like electronic machine to deactivate anything that is made of nuclear energy, and that was pretty interesting. And recently we had interview with the Skype interview with the guy who was actually a military sailor. Uh, maybe he was I don't remember what was his specification, his profession. in sailing, military sailing, because they had different professions. But he was pretty not acknowledged with all those, and he was familiar with all those different aspects of military sailing and all these flat Earth questions that we asked him were pretty good to explain what we see on this flat surface around us, and uh, how to prove all this flat stuff, flat Earth stuff. So it's okay when we have those professionals in those narrow areas, not wide areas, but narrow specific areas, and we can ask them whatever is bothering us in this question, and of course we're gonna have the answers, because even though those people are pretty brainwashed for first sight, we think that they are brainwashed, they all brainwashed, but not. They are not. They know all that we are talking about, but they think about it the different way. That's why they don't ask the further questions. That's why they don't um, make all those conclusions that we made in our alternative research. Just because everything is satisfying them with what they have, but that doesn't mean they are stupid or dumb to understand that something is wrong. They do understand that something is wrong, and that's the reason we can be receive and talk to them and receive this information for any reason. Philip, I would like to hear more about the subject you were discussing with John Humanity. What subjects? How do we know the mud flood was as recent as 1830 and yet no one remembers it? Where there are so many buildings with a buried first floor worldwide, from Kenny in Arizona, USA. So Kenny, when we see dating on this building, like they say it was built in 18 of like 31, and if it has a buried first floor or maybe two floors like we have in Moscow sometimes, we have to think about that the date of the mud flood was a little bit later than the house was built. So that's how we can prove the actual date. And so we check bunch of cities, we check bunch of towns and stuff like that, and we got the conclusion about the period that the mud flood could be in. If we believe in this dating of the house or street or whatever, we can, bring up the information about the period. So that's how we can make the conclusions, and how we can guess in what time it was. And also the books and the maps. And when we read the books, Russian books, when some writers relay or link to some occasion